This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the WWE Podcast on this Sunday, February 11th, Super Bowl Sunday, 2024. As it stands right now, the score, and again, this is, going to change, I would imagine. The Kansas City Chiefs are up 13-10 over the San Francisco 49ers. So, hey, it's anybody's game, but Kansas City has been doing this all year long with the comebacks. So this one is really no different, and we'll have to see how things turn out. But we're not here to talk football. We're here to talk wrestling, and that will become the focal point of a lot of people after this Sunday night passes and we collectively get over our hangovers Monday morning and get back to business, because there's a lot to talk about wrestling-wise. There's a lot to dissect. There's a lot to go through. There's still a lot of controversy, believe it or not. A lot of new rumors floating around. I'll get to one that very particularly interests me, but I don't think there's a chance of it. I'll talk about that in a minute. But bear with me, guys. I feel like I'm coming down with something again. I mean, if anybody out there has kids that are in school or daycare, when they come home, they just bring home a new disease every day. So hopefully I can dodge this one because it's been a 3-month period of just constantly coughing, sneezing, hacking, fevers, earaches, pink eye, whatever. So, but hey, if you're a parent that can relate, I feel your pain. It is a not so fun part of it, but my throat is starting to feel it. I'm getting itchy, so I will do my best to get through this show, and hopefully we can here, because there's a lot to talk about, as I said. And if you want to go ad-free, quick plug, head on over to Patreon and get yourself an ad-free experience. Everything is there that's ad-free, as well as our After Dark show that we just released a little bit late today. And we had a couple of cool fill-ins of Michael Gross, Maverick, and Justin Credible, who covered the Vince McMahon scandal. And I'd recommend you check that out. It's over on Patreon, and it's also over on Apple Podcasts. And if you're a supporter on Spreaker, I really would appreciate the support over there, because you get everything over there as well with the addition of the show. If you become a supporter, you are able to get that additional show. So let's talk about this rumor before we get to this week in WWE. The rumor floating around right now, and it doesn't seem to have too much weight, but there is some truth or some fun to be had with this rumor. And that is Triple H versus The Rock. Now, if Triple H didn't have a pacemaker in his heart, I would say, yeah, this seems to be where they're headed. But I don't know if that's the case because of the pacemaker. That's a pretty big deal. I am fairly sure that Triple H has made it clear he is not going to be competing ever again, and with good reason. So I'm not putting too much stock into it, but it is a shame that this can't happen, given the long history of Triple H and The Rock, given that they never had their WrestleMania match, which is really unfathomable that they never did, given how awesome the rivalry was 20 years ago. But there's a lot of history to draw on there. They actually teased it 8-9 years ago on SmackDown, and they were going to build to a program at WrestleMania. That never happened. So it is a shame that, given Triple H's physical condition, that we're not able to actually get the match that I think would be a nice substitute for Roman Reigns versus The Rock. For those of us that are supporting The Rock versus Roman Reigns one-on-one, we'll eventually get there. It's not going to be at WrestleMania, but it will happen. I mean, I think it's SummerSlam or next year's WrestleMania. We can look forward to that. But Rock is truly playing the long game, it looks like. He is heel now, and I think we'll see the evolution of his heel run, which will be fun. And then we'll get the turn and back to babyface, and everyone supports The Rock again, and let's take down Roman Reigns. So that's how I, just very high level, in a simplified way, feel like things are going to go down. But with the Triple H versus The Rock, again, potential, it's just, to me, not in the cards. But if it were, let's play the very, very small percentage game that somehow Triple H is able to get in shape in time, and he's cleared by the doctors, and he doesn't have any existential risk by performing in the match. Let's all pretend that's true, which it's not, I don't think, but let's pretend. I think a lot of people that are angry about The Rock not being taking Roman Reigns on one-on-one at WrestleMania would hungrily take Triple H versus The Rock at WrestleMania if that were a plausible option. Again, the history, these two are absolute professionals on the microphone. They could cut one promo would make you want to see the match. They've already given each other looks that make you want to see the match. But I'm not trying to put any rumors out there. I'm not saying it's happening. I've just read the tea leaves and have my finger on the pulse of the wrestling fans, and it seems like a lot of them feel that it could happen, except they forget there's a pacemaker inside of Paul Levesque, okay? And he nearly died. I don't think he's going to put his actual life on the line for absolutely, well, not no reason, but for something that is not completely necessary, where The Rock could compete in a tag team match at WrestleMania if you wanted to go that road. Yeah, I guess he could take on, I would say Solo Sikoa, but he's on the side of Roman Reigns. So The Rock's role at WrestleMania 40 is very perplexing, because not only have you taken him out of Rock versus Roman, apparently that's being kicked down the road, but you've also put him in a situation that his opponents are limited, given that what is the replacement person? Who is that person? You can't have him in a tag team. You can't have him in a tag team match. What would that look like? The Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth? You can't do that. That makes no sense. Not at WrestleMania, when titles need to be fought for. So that's out of the question when it comes to WrestleMania 40. And I've also heard, oh, well, he'll be the special guest referee. You're telling me The Rock came back after all these years to compete, and then it gets kicked because the fans, put up a fit on Twitter or on X, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, okay, I'll just be a special referee. No, I mean, it's better than nothing. If you give him the option of The Rock doing nothing versus being a special guest referee, fine. I mean, I'd take it, because you're wondering how The Rock would react. Whose side is he on? Is he going to turn on Roman? Is he going to help Cody? Is he not going to help Cody? Is he going to screw Cody? So there's a little bit of fun to have there, but that would be a massive letdown if at WrestleMania 40 The Rock isn't in an actual match. So his heel turn is fun. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's just a very surprising one, given where we all thought we were just a couple of months ago. And having him come back, and everyone cheered for, oh my God, the head of the table. Everyone unanimously cheered for that. Even when The Rock confronted Roman Reigns in that will go down as an infamous segment in WWE forever, of The Rock confronting Roman, where Cody steps aside, and we're supposed to be okay with it because on screen Cody's character is cool with it, and all that, which was very poorly booked. I mean, creative really spit the bit on this. They laid a big egg when it comes to that creative, but my point was that everyone seemed to be on board until that segment, and until Rock replaced Cody Rhodes. And it also, to be fair, is a better story with Cody when it comes to the fans. Seemingly, majority seem to rule here. They want to be seeing Cody finish his story. But here's the thing. What if Cody doesn't? What are you Cody fans going to do? That's a serious question. That's not me trying to troll you. I'm asking you. Cody Rhodes goes to WrestleMania. Whether The Rock is the special referee, or he has something to say in the match, or he doesn't. Whatever the case is at WrestleMania in terms of the shenanigans or outside stuff, what if Cody loses? And what if Roman Reigns walks out as champion? Now, I think that's still very unlikely. I still would be of the belief that Cody Rhodes would win, but we thought that last year, and we thought that the year before. I mean, some of us thought that the year before that WrestleMania is a big-time place to do big-time things. And what if they don't? Cody loses 2 years in a row. Can his character survive that? So, I mean, I don't think it's likely. I do believe they'll finally cut the cord with Roman's run at WrestleMania, but looming in the distance is Hulk Hogan's record. I know I keep bringing it up, but WWE seems to love their record-breaking moments and bringing up stats when when they want to tell you something significant's coming up. So I believe that it's still on the table that he could lose. I don't think it's likely, but I wanted to bring it to your attention and ask you legitimately, what would you do? So, all right, we still have a lot more to get to, including some extra emails and some voicemails I'm going to try to get to at the end of the show last week. This is almost like a part 3 for the voicemail from last week, and I missed a patron, so I'll get to that person first at the second half of the show. I won't forget it, and then we'll close things out after that. But that's the big thing, obviously, this week with Triple H comes out on SmackDown. We're all expecting some kind of big announcement or some kind of progression forward in the story, and what we got is pretty much more of the same from what we got at the press conference, which is, guys, don't worry, it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But if you're looking for any kind of progression, it was more of using The Rock's lines against him, which, again, as I said early in the show here, does provide some evidence to make you believe that if Triple H was healthy and in shape and ready to go, Rock versus Triple H would be on the table for Mania here. But I very much doubt it is. However, he was saying it doesn't matter where you sit. Again, using the words, it doesn't matter. All the Rock's catchphrases he nicely input into the promo, and basically having the authority rebooted in a way versus The Rock and having him try to use his swagger as a board member on TKO. And it's going to be an interesting power struggle as this moves forward. Again, if you had told me this was coming, I wouldn't have believed you. But they're pivoting, and they're pivoting nicely. And Hollywood Rock is a fun rock. Hollywood Rock, I'd recommend, if you haven't seen it in a while or haven't seen it at all, what The Rock looks like as a heel, go back to 2003. Okay? The heel turn started at WrestleMania 18 against Hulk Hogan. The fans turned on him. And after that, it was off to the races with Hollywood Rock. And it was so much fun. So I don't think we're going to get that exact duplicate. But boy, I mean, The Rock as a heel is something I didn't see coming. And it could be fun before they eventually turn in babyface. I think that will happen. But there is a power struggle going on here. But Triple H said this is a new WWE, whatever that means. And that the final decisions run through him. And him alone. Very interesting. Now, one last thing I'll say, high level on this. If you were in Charlotte, North Carolina this week, and I know I had some listeners that were, I feel for you. Not that you didn't get a good show, but you got pretty much used as a promotional platform for next week's SmackDown when Roman, The Rock, and I believe Cody are all going to be in the building. So, yeah. Now, people will tell me, oh, what are you talking about, Cody? He can't be there. First of all, Cody has shown up a number of times with nobody explaining or caring that he's there. A number. Drew McIntyre came out on SmackDown this week with nobody seeming to care. We had Adam Pearce, who's there every week, and now all of a sudden he's buddy with Nick Aldis. I don't understand that. But they have stars come over. I think there was somebody else. I'll think about who that is as we move on. I can't offhand tell you who it is. But there was other people, or one other person that was from Raw that was on SmackDown that no one even bothered to say, what the hell are they doing here? You know? So it happens, and no one seems to care. So the whole brand split, as I have said for literally years, is a farce. It's a complete farce. It's there when they need it, and it's not there when they don't. And when it's not there, they don't even pretend it's there to have the announcers go, well, they're from Raw. How the hell are they here? They don't even bring it up. They don't even bring it as an issue. So, but that's not here what I'm here to talk about. I am here. Let's go into SmackDown. Now, Michael Ritter did an awesome job. If you haven't heard the SmackDown review, check it out. I recommend his reviews. He always does an excellent job. But I just went over the Triple H thing. let's continue on here with the Elimination Chamber Qualifier. Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles in an Elimination Chamber Qualifying match. Does Drew ever put on a bad match? I mean, same with AJ. Are they even capable? If their job was to come out there and have a crapper of a match, could they even do it if they were paid? I don't know. They're not. I mean, this was a really good match. AJ lost to Drew in 11 minutes and 40 seconds. And LA Knight was on commentary during this. And, you know, LA Knight's lost in all of this because everything's about Rock, Roman, Cody, Cody, Roman, Rock, right? Everything. Everybody's conversation. Hell, I opened the show talking about it for 15 minutes. And rightfully so. I don't apologize for it. But I do kind of feel for LA Knight, who was really gaining steam and was the guy that you believed just a few months ago could take down Roman Reigns. And he's getting lost in the sauce here. And it's not any fault of his own. There's a lot of other bigger names coming in. The time of the year does warrant big names coming in. And I do feel for LA Knight, who seemingly was on his way to being a true contender to take down Roman. And now, while he's interfering in matches that are high level, he's not in that top tier anymore. He got knocked down to like just the general top tier, which is a good place to be, but not where a lot of us hoped he would be at this point. And as fans, I think we need to keep that in mind. If you want to keep supporting him, we need to keep going to these events and, you know, being loud, right? So it's not that he's cold. It's just not obviously as hot as he was. He doesn't get a whole lot of promo time anymore, if you've noticed that. Now, putting him on commentary is fine, but getting him in front of a live crowd and doing his shtick and cutting the promos that he used to, those are all gone. They've been sacrificed for other things, and I think it's a shame for LA Knight, but he's not lost completely. There's still time to capture him and maybe catapult him into that level we want, and I just, at this point, I don't think, though, there is a plan to keep LA Knight in that top tier or make him a world champion or a universal heavyweight champion, whatever. That doesn't seem to be in the cards right now for LA Knight. And it sucks because you do wonder what an LA Knight title run would have looked like. So, all right, but a lot of fun with this match here with Styles and McIntyre. And this ending was because, or rather AJ lost because LA Knight was distracting Styles, who had earlier been launched into him at commentary. McIntyre shoved Styles into Knight. Styles rolled up McIntyre into the ring, but Knight caused the ref to miss the count with his distraction. He then knocked Knight onto the floor, turned around into a Claymore. McIntyre got the victory. 1, 2, 3. Right guy to win. McIntyre is a very believable opponent for a very believable opponent for Seth Rollins. One thing, because I'm going to forget, and I apologize for jumping around, beyond the fact that this week felt very much like just a promo for next week with those 3 big names being there. I feel for you, Charlotte. I really do. What about John Cena floating around? You know he's showing up for WrestleMania. How can he not be a part of WrestleMania 40? And if he's not going to be in a match at WrestleMania 40, which would kind of be a bummer, I mean, he could still come out, maybe be the host, FU somebody, or rather, AA somebody. We got to PG it. And maybe that's what he does. But I don't think John Cena is going to miss this opportunity to have a match at WrestleMania, especially given the injuries that have really hurt the card in some ways. Now, the roster is deep enough that they're going to be just fine, but CM Punk's gone. Brock Lesnar's gone, right? So those are 2 massive names. And if John Cena wasn't thinking about competing at WrestleMania, now may be the time. Now may be the time to write that check. Now, who would he face? Hell, I mean, I guess he could face The Rock if The Rock's open, but I mean, bringing John Cena into it would be a little weird. And we've already seen John Cena and The Rock twice at WrestleMania. So while they're both healthy enough to compete, crazily enough, it doesn't make sense at all right now and feel completely out of left field. So I would say that's an out. So who does John Cena face? I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas? I really don't. I don't have an idea. It would have to be a big babyface, or I'm sorry, a big heel, like Gunther. What if Gunther drops the belt before WrestleMania and then he faces John Cena at WrestleMania? Now, to me, that would be fun, except here's the problem. Ever since John Cena's come back, and he comes back and he comes back, he loses and loses and loses and loses and loses. Which, I understand the psychology behind it. You're in a point in your career where it's not about you anymore. It's about helping the talent that are there, and getting a victory over John Cena should, in theory, pun intended, help that talent move to the next level. Except it has done anything but, for Theory especially, it actually hurt him in weird ways, and has done almost nothing for Solo Sikoa. Almost nothing. Roman Reigns beat him a couple of years ago, which that was a fun program, but y'all knew that John Cena was going to win the belt. And my fear is that if you have Gunther face John Cena in this fictitious match, I know I'm 4 levels away from this happening. I understand that, but it's plausible. Whoever he faces, really, put any babyface in that scenario. I'm concerned about the babyface. If they're facing John Cena, or the heel, that's supposed to be helped by beating John Cena, will have the opposite effect. Because so far, the heels that have beaten John Cena have gone 0 for 2 when it comes to using those victories to help them move to the next level. So I'm a little concerned, even if Gunther does, that we're going to get a somehow de-evolution of Gunther, that it actually hurts him in some way. I hope that doesn't happen, but maybe they can structure it in a way that whoever John Cena faces, Gunther is a prized possession right now. But John Cena has been so depressed about losing match after match that can John Cena afford another loss? What's next? I don't know. Some food for thought before I move on. I wanted to get that in there because no one's talking about John Cena at all. He's not even in the conversation when it comes to WrestleMania, and I think he should be. He's somebody we are not even thinking about. And other names we're not thinking about, not for matches, God forbid, and I'm not saying for a match, The Undertaker. I believe that you're going to have an Undertaker appearance at WrestleMania, probably a choke slam and a tombstone to a heel. I just wanted to put that out there. Is Austin going to be there? You would think at 40 that you put in all of your chips you put all the chips on the table. So I think that when you're looking at WrestleMania again from kind of a all-star perspective of who could return, Undertaker could probably and should probably be there. Tombstone, chokeslam. Same with Austin, Stunner, Beer. Maybe, I'm not even going to go there. I was going to say maybe he'll have some kind of interaction with The Rock. I don't even want to go there. All right. We're getting too off the rails. And I've actually heard people proposing The Rock and Austin should have another match, which is ridiculous, because even Austin has said, I think on his show, that it would be in slow motion. And let's be honest, they wouldn't live up to their trilogy. I wouldn't want to sour the trilogy. As awesome of a moment, of like a complete chills moment as that would be, my insides would be screaming that this is going to be horrendous, right? They just can't perform at that level anymore. Both of them can't. So I'm out of that camp. But my point is, stepping back and taking a breath. Austin, sure. Stunner. Taker, sure. Chokeslam, tombstone. A lot of fun. I think you could absolutely see that. So, all right. Let's talk about this week in WWE, because, it is called This Week in WWE, or rather Week in Review. So let's do it. So McIntyre wins. He's qualified. And Sami Zayn was interviewed backstage talking about his match with Orton later that night, and Sami Zayn seems very depressed. He doesn't have a road to WrestleMania. Now this is at least a road, but getting through Orton is going to be no easy task, but he'll take it. All right. So let's see. We then got Pretty Deadly. They were shown looking over the water from a gazebo, and they saw a ghostly vision of Queen Elizabeth. They both lamented Pete Dunne and Kit Wilson, Pete Dunne obviously, and they showed his deformed hand from all the finger manipulation, which was just brilliant. They said that they would come back to SmackDown to show everyone what they could do, and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate were shown backstage, followed by DIY, and those teams are going to face off for a title opportunity at Elimination Chamber, and then another package aired that focused on the breakdown of Damage Control last week, and then we get a little promotion for that. So, I love Pretty Deadly so far. They're obnoxious. They're not a team that you take seriously. But you could also see them at some point winning the belts, and you're just so angry that they have them. You want to see someone take it off them. And they're entertaining. Like right now, I am entertained, as WWE would love me to say, but I am. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. I really am. I've bought in. Yes, boy. I am. I mean, it's a little bit of a weird tag team, but they've got chemistry. No doubt. All right. Then we get Michin versus Bianca Belair in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. Now, again, the chambers are cross-promotional. And I don't think, although I'm not confirmed on that in my mind, what happens if somebody from an opposing brand wins the Elimination Chamber, the belt stays on Raw, I'm on SmackDown, I go to Raw, say I win the belt, am I now on Raw? I would imagine. So, I mean, just these things that I didn't know they were interpromotional. And here's the other thing. If this was a true brand split, you can't compete for another championship on the opposite brand. Doesn't make sense. But this is where we're not supposed to overthink it, which is not overthinking. It's just common damn sense. That if you have a chamber that's for a championship that's not on your brand, you can't compete for it. End of story. But that means you'd have to leave off some major stars. And then I understand the business side of it. But that very much conflicts and often conflicts with the logical side of wrestling. So I get it, though. I understand the need for it. Okay, but Michin and Bianca Belair are competing here for a spot in the Elimination Chamber. And a decent match. I think Michin had a nice showing, even though it was only 7 minutes. Bianca Belair did beat her with a KOD clean. And we get a very much anticipated victory from Bianca. Again, expected outcome, but that's fine. And Michin looked pretty good. All right. Braun Breaker was backstage talking with Triple H. That's when Paul Heyman interfered. And we got the announcement from Paul Heyman that Roman Reigns and The Rock are going to be back next week. If I was in Charlotte, I would be booing the crap out of this. Boy, would I be pissed. Bayley then came out. She said she's been struggling to put together all the words about what happened last week. And part of her wish is it never happened at all. She polled the crowd and asked if we were cool now, and they chanted her name. She said everyone knows where her heart is, and Damage Control meant everything to her. She said all she did was give, and they took and took and took, which is really very true. I mean, Bayley took a back seat for a couple years with this group. So that's all true, 100%. She said that after the Rumble, she thought things might change for the better. Instead, they laughed behind her back. Things got quiet when she came into the room. And that's when we got a Dakota Kai entrance. And Dakota Kai, who did not participate in the beatdown of Bayley last week, tried to make the case that everything was real in Damage Control until Kairi and Asuka got in Io's head. And then Bayley asked her why she didn't tell her, and Dakota's explanation was that she didn't know how to tell her because it seemed like her plan was working. Bayley then demanded to know where she stands, and Io interrupted and made her entrance with Kairi and Asuka. Dakota then bailed and left Bayley by herself, and Dakota grabbed a chair and got in the ring. She appeared like she was going to strike Bayley, but instead cleared the heels off the ring apron, and the crowd chanted for them to hug it out, but they kept their distance. Backstage, so before I get to the backstage with Orton, this was nice. I mean, it seems like Dakota Kai, for the first time, is getting a little bit of spotlight. I mean, she didn't even get any kind of dialogue at all in Damage Control. Almost none. So it was good to see that. And she seems like she can talk. Good-looking woman, and she can talk. Now let's put her in the ring and let her wrestle. But it is going to be interesting to see if she's trying to pull another one over on Bayley or if she truly is in the corner of Bayley. That remains to be seen. Backstage, Orton was interviewed, and he spoke about watching from the sideline at last year's WrestleMania, that it was painful. He said he has always known when to strike, and when he makes it into Elimination Chamber, he would deploy the most 3 dangerous letters in WWE. Kind of getting bored of that, I have to say, but it's nice on a t-shirt. Let's see here. We got Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate versus DIY for the Tag Team Championship opportunity here. And this match lasted 8 minutes and 40 seconds with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate defeating DIY to earn the title match against the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest, which is nice. Good match. I mean, very solid. You talk about pure wrestling. This is pure wrestling. Loved it. And DIY, who continues to gain, is gaining momentum, still could really use a little bit of character development, promotion time, because I feel like they're going to max out how much support they're gaining from the crowd just by being great wrestling in-ring wrestlers. Eventually, you're going to have to show us more, and beyond just like maybe a quick 1-2 word thing backstage. We need to know who and what you are. So hopefully they're thinking about what their characters are going to be, or what they want to show the crowd, or why you're here, or whatever. So better than when Johnny Gargano was just being a narc for The Miz. Remember that? He was like trying to throw Miz under the bus with Dexter Lumis, right? He was just being this like kind of a D-bag. I mean, I actually had to side with The Miz in that program. So this is a far cry from that. And same goes for Ciampa, who seemed to be lost in the sauce. All right, let's continue here, and let's go on to the next segment. Logan Paul came in asking Nick Aldis to put him in a qualifying match for the Chamber instead of finding him a challenger for the U.S. title. He asserted that he should be getting the Rock treatment, where he gets the rock star treatment, smashes people in the face, and gets back on a jet. Paul demanded to know his challenger for next week, and Aldis said it was someone he knows quite well, The Miz. So Shotzi will take on Tiffany Stratton. Zelina will face Naomi next week on SmackDown in the Elimination Chamber qualifiers. And that's when we get the main event of Sami Zayn and Orton. So Logan Paul coming in and demanding he get treated like a big star fits his character perfectly. Okay. We got Orton then taking on Sami Zayn. And the finish was as follows. We got a draping DDT, as always, but got rolled up on an RKO attempt. Sammy then followed up with a Blue Thunder Bomb for a close near fall. Sammy leapfrogged Orton, and then he got turned into an RKO. 1, 2, 3. Orton beats Sami Zayn to qualify for the Elimination Chamber at 11 minutes and 1 second. Now, beyond Randy Orton winning, which is what everyone expected, well, not everybody, but when you look at the star power, Randy should have won this, and he did. A lot of people are talking about how Randy reacted to the match and how hurt he looked. And that was more than selling. He looked like, man, this crap hurts. I think it was a little of both. Do I think Randy Orton's hurt? No. Do I think he's feeling his age? Yes. Do I think he's also a great seller? Yes. So there's a lot of talk about it, and Randy Orton kind of, I guess, having a moment of his own humanity coming upon him, realizing that he is still just human, a superhuman, but still a human nonetheless. And so I think that it's a combo of things. I don't think it's a singular thing of him being a really good seller, or just it's all how much he actually is in pain from taking bumps. I mean, Randy Orton's been taking bumps for 20 years, but he also had a long hiatus from taking bumps for 18 months. So, I think it's a combination of things, but really good match here. And now Sami Zayn is just lost, it seems, with no path to WrestleMania. We'll have to see where he lands. It could be facing some kind of multi-person match along with LA Knight, facing Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Kind of seems to be where he'll land, and maybe where some of the other guys will land on both sides, on Raw and SmackDown. Whoever doesn't win this match could be put into a multi-person Intercontinental or multi-person United States Championship match on Raw and SmackDown to give them a place to land for WrestleMania. So that's probably where they both will go. And having Orton and Drew in the match facing off, and they already faced off a little bit here, I think is a fun rivalry to revisit, given that the last time these two hooked up, they were on opposite ends of the fan support spectrum, so there is that to consider as well. So many things. Just as I mentioned last week, there are so many combinations of matchups we have not seen on both the men's and women's sides, and it's just a blast to think about. So, on the Raw side of things, I have obviously I do my Raw review every single week, but we got the Texas Bull Rope match with Shinsuke and Cody. Cody and Shinsuke work very well together. The miss to the face, nice visual. It didn't stop Cody. He still was able to hit his crossroads. Although Shinsuke kicked out of one of them, he hit a second one, and Michael Cole, I remember saying it, that he felt cathartic after all the frustration this week, that getting this victory was a kind of sense of therapy for him. And so Cody beats Shinsuke. Let's just hope that rivalry is over with. Let's please hope. I don't need another backstage missed attack. Please. I love Shinsuke. I do. But it's time to move on to what Cody's actually meant to do, and that is conquer Roman Reigns, as we all believe. So, that said, we also got the Kabuki Warriors versus Kaden Carter and Katana Chance for the women's tag titles, with the Kabuki Warriors getting the victory on that end. And we also got Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Really good match here. And it was for the women's qualifying, one of the women's qualifying matches for the Chamber. So Shayna Baszler is continuing to just pop in and out of relevancy. But this is about the Becky Lynch and redemption, really, and the Becky Lynch redemption story of trying to really find her footing again, honestly. Feels like she's been lost for a while. So Becky Lynch getting back on her feet and really trying to re-identify herself. Who is she? Is she still just calling herself the man? I think there needs to be a bit more of a bravado from her. Instead of this just, I know I'm the underdog, but gosh golly, I'm going to fight. We need more. I mean, this whole underdog story with Becky needs to... That shouldn't be... You're not an underdog if you have already won the main event of WrestleMania. And you were already put in the main event of WrestleMania and beat Shayna Baszler and Charlotte. So that's out the window. You're a multi-time women champion, right? So that is not, to me, a good place to put Becky Lynch's character as trying to position herself as an underdog. It's not believable anymore. I know she doesn't have the muscular mass that a lot of the women do, and that she doesn't look like she's as much of a physical threat, even though when you get her in the ring, she can wrestle like, nobody's business. But that went away as soon as, she won the main event of WrestleMania. So, but we'll see where it goes. Either way, Becky Lynch is probably going to get booed at WrestleMania. I do believe that. All right, so I guess we'll call it there for the week in review. Obviously, a lot more that we could cover, but I don't want to duplicate my reviews for Raw. If you want my full Raw review, you can check it out over on the feed that you're listening to now, earlier in the week. But as promised, we're going to get to those emails that I didn't get to last week. So here's one from a patron. This is from Joe Owen. Joe says, hear me out. WrestleMania Night 1, Seth versus Cody, and Rock versus Roman. Winners go on for a unification of both titles on Night 2. Roman beats The Rock. After Cody beats Seth, Jimmy and Solo come down to attack Cody to weaken him for his showdown against Roman, only for Damian Priest to cash in on a beaten Cody to take the heavyweight title from him. This will lead to the Bloodline being banned from the stadium for attacking Cody and leaving only the Universal Championship up for grabs in a one-on-one showdown for the Universal Championships between Cody and Roman on Night 2. Cody will be weakened for the beating to get more sympathy from the crowd, and the Heavyweight Championship is now on Damian, leaving 2 top titles in circulation for both shows. Okay. So, this... I see where you're going. I understand the logic of Cody being the underdog. He's beaten. How is he going to overcome? What I'll say to that is they don't need that. And I don't mean that your idea is bad. I just mean that the fans are already there. They're already in a place that this storyline would put them. So you don't need to rehash hash it, or rather, you don't need to reinforce it. It's there. This seems a little bit overbooked for me, but Cody and Seth is not happening. Now, I can say that with the hindsight of being 2020. Cody and Seth is not happening. I mean, we are getting Cody and Roman, period, end of subject. If WWE ends up changing the main event again, and or having Cody and or Roman do double duty, I will be very shocked at this point. That was a possibility at one point. Well, we're past that now. So, The Rock versus Roman, I think is not happening, although we haven't got confirmation of exactly what the hell The Rock's doing yet. So until we know what The Rock is doing, I don't know what to say about The Rock. I mean, I've heard everything from special referee to not being on the show to being in a tag team match with Roman against Seth and Cody. I've heard it all. So I don't know what the hell The Rock's doing. But I do know that Seth and Cody are not on the table, because you also know that we have an Elimination Chamber that all of those participants are going to be competing for the opportunity to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So, other than that, I mean, I understand your booking. I totally get the logic. But thanks, Joe. Okay, let's get to... I don't know who this is. I mean that because it's in a different language. The name is in a different language. So this is... I don't know. But we'll find out. This is Hi WWE Podcast. What if The Rock is lying to Roman like Paul Heyman lied to Brock Lesnar, and Roman gets screwed by Rock at WrestleMania and night 1, and then fights Rock at night 2 or SummerSlam? I thought about that too, that Rock could be setting up Roman and he's going to turn on Roman. But now The Rock's going to have a reason to turn on Roman. Roman's been nothing but nice to him. Rock's the one that interrupted and injected himself into this. People are enjoying the heel Rock. So I think it's going to be a point where Roman disrespects The Rock down the line we're talking after WrestleMania, and then we build to Rock Roman. Also, that would really anger a lot of Cody fans who feel that if Rock is involved at all, even if it's to help out and even the odds, that would taint Cody's victory over Roman. They want nothing to do with The Rock in this main event at all, whether it's to help Cody or not. I would argue that you could still have The Rock interfere, but only to even the odds and not touch Roman, but rather interfere and help Jimmy, take away Jimmy and Solo. But that doesn't even make sense right now, because it seems like The Rock has kind of indirectly joined the bloodline. The group, right? So, thank you. Again, I don't know who you are. All right, hey, let's my gosh. Let's talk to Andrew. Talk to Andrew M. He says, I'll preface this email by saying I apologize if it goes on, but I'll try not to go on so much. Okay. Well, it is a bit long. I'll do my best. I'm a huge WWE fan from the late 90s. Survivor Series 98 was my first show I ever watched. I was 11 at the time, and that got me into wrestling, like a lot of people at that time. You were obsessed with it, and lasted a few good years until you would say about 2004, where I fell out of it. I think my age and a lot of other things happening around me with different friends at school and hobbies. I still kept an eye on it after this, but going from absolutely obsessed with it in the late 90s to hardly watching it ever, I found myself just not bothering with it. Anyways, moving to current times, when CM Punk came back at Survivor Series in November, it piqued my interest and that pop. I didn't realize that those sort of pops still happen in modern wrestling, and it got me intrigued. So I subbed to the WWE Network again. I'm in the UK, so no Peacock over here, and thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a good old go again. Got my daughter, who's now 10, involved, and I'm absolutely back and loving it. It's quite hard going from not being involved, really, to knowing everyone and who I like and don't like. Because as you know, compared to the rosters from 20 plus years ago, there are so many more wrestlers to know about, and that's not including the NXT as well, the NXT wrestlers. The Royal Rumble was the first modern pay-per-view I watched in 20 years all the way through, and I loved it. I know the women's quality of wrestling has gotten fantastic as the years have gone on, but wow, I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the men's, but the women's I really enjoyed and thought it flowed really well. Me and my daughter went on and watched WrestleMania 38 and 39 just to get back into knowing the rosters and who is who, and really benefited from it to get to know who was who. We both really love Cody Rhodes and would say that he is our favorite wrestler at the moment. I personally love Drew and think his current heel run is fantastic. Gutted I wasn't around when he won the title during COVID. No, you won't. No, you're not. Trust me. The reason I say that, Andrew, is because it was sad. Not that the match with Brock was sad in any way, but sad for Drew, who wasn't able to actually perform in front of fans and have that damn moment in front of the crowd. So I felt bad for him. It was more of really feeling bad for him. Go back and watch it. It's hard to watch WrestleMania 36. It's just uncomfortable, and especially for Drew. I just felt so bad for him. But me and her are rooting for Cody for this year's WrestleMania. But this is a mess. Oh, I'm sorry, but it is a mess what has happened with the whole situation with him, Reigns, and Rock. And to be honest, you mentioned in the last show the older generation favors The Rock. I was always the biggest Stone Cold fan, and whereas I love The Rock, it was always Stone Cold for me. So I don't have the love for The Rock versus Reigns, but that is probably down to me being out of wrestling for a while. Sorry for the long email, but since getting back into wrestling, I wanted to get it all off my chest. And I've listened and subbed to the podcast for the last few weeks and have really enjoyed the conversations and views, even though I don't agree with you about the Cody Rhodes. Oh my gosh. You guys know what I'm saying. The whole situation. I'll just call it the situation. All right. Keep up with the good work, and I feel good that I'm looking forward to wrestling going forward. Andy from the UK. All right, Andy. So you're not a fan of The Rock because you were a fan of Austin. Well, I felt the same way. Whenever it came down to Rock versus Austin, I was firmly on the side of Stone Cold Steve Austin. However, when Austin went down with the injury, and when he eventually left because of his injury in 2003 in Seattle at WrestleMania 19, I had to side with The Rock. Now, The Rock didn't last long because he eventually went to Hollywood, but during those times when Austin wasn't there, The Rock was your number two, and he was still the go-to guy. So, I never said to myself, well, if Austin's not around, I'm not going to cheer for anyone, right? So for me, it was The Rock number two, Austin number one. I see what you're saying. Though. But so it's great that, number one, you're back into wrestling. You've seen the women's evolution. And boy, if you haven't seen wrestling since 2004 and really gotten into it, this must be a complete culture shock for you to see where the women were to where they are now. I mean, especially that. That must be like, you're looking at this like, what? What do you mean the women have a Royal Rumble? What do you mean the women have, where's the Divas Championship, right? So that must be striking to you in a good way. And it's cool that you have your daughter involved, because anytime you can share a passion of yours with a son or a daughter, I think that's really cool. And I'm trying to indoctrinate my son shortly. He's 5, but I'm trying to indoctrinate him soon into the wrestling cult, of which I am, again, I think I've told you guys this. I'm being, my wife is a little hesitant, but, I told her, hey, it's PG product now, and it is more child friendly. So I'm trying to warm her up to it. And my son is asking me to go to a wrestling show with him when they come here at the end of May. So we'll see. But for you, that's awesome. You're able to share it, and you guys watch WrestleMania 38 and 39 together. So you're caught up as you could expect to be, given that you just got back. But yeah, you have a lot of content. If you ever want to go back, I mean, you have, how much, my God, 20 years of content to go through. I mean, geez. If I were you, I would just Google search thing. I wouldn't even do anything other than just go to Google and type in biggest WWE moments in the last 20 years and let Google figure it out for you. Unless you have the time to go through the network and actually decide what you want to watch. If you just want to watch WrestleMania to WrestleMania, I mean, that wouldn't be terrible if you want to watch, an additional 18 WrestleManias. But, that's probably what I would do. And you came back at the CM Punk time. So, honestly, coming from somebody that hasn't taken a break ever from watching wrestling, I understand why you did with friends and stuff, because I bet you had a lot of friends that you changed with, or rather you got new friends, or you had friends that didn't watch wrestling, and that can be a bit of a bummer, right? I've been there. So that said, though, I would say that it's cool you're back. You're in at a time that, coming from somebody who has not taken a break, even I know that we're in a time that is hot. Sometimes you can't see it when you're in it and you've been in it for so long. You came in at an awesome time. So Very cool. All right, let's get to a patron. Another patron, David. David says, "Hi, Matt. I attended SmackDown this week in Charlotte, and man, it was a blast. I want to go ahead and forewarn this. It may be a bit long, but I want to tell everyone the experience of attending these events. But feel free to cut down. Although there was no Rock or Roman, seeing Triple H was truly a treat. I got my favorite wrestlers such as Randy, LA Knight, Drew, and Sammy. For the dark matches before the show, we got Gable Steveson defeating Cedric Alexander. And then after the show, we got Cameron Grimes against Gunther. Gunther obviously won, and he cut a promo talking down on the city. And R-Truth from Charlotte comes out and received a massive pop. Told Gunther he can't talk down like that, and then laid the smackdown on Gunther. Afterwards, we got Cody versus Solo. Cool. Cody got an enormous pop and beat Solo after hitting 3 straight crossroads. That, is no one else bothered by the fact that Cody has very, very consistently, with exceptions, had to hit his finish multiple times, or doesn't even go for a cover after his first finish? He just hits his finish. He's like, yeah, that's probably not enough. I got to hit it another couple times. I don't care who you are. It's not just because I don't like Cody. It's because if it's a finish, you should have confidence that it, finishes the match. It just shows that your finish is weak. I don't know. So let's see here. Where am I going? Oh, Jimmy got ejected as the ref was overselling the finger motion, throwing on the throw out, which was hilarious. Yes, that is always fun. Lots of people wearing Cody shirts. By the way, has anyone ever thought, what if the person who's not in the match is on the outside of the ring, just looks at the referee and goes, no, I'm not going to go anywhere. No one ever defies the referee. They just go, yeah, okay, as if you don't, and the consequences, you'll be fired. You know what I mean? Or you'll be killed on scene. It feels like it's that kind of consequence where even the most dastardly of heels, when the referee says you're out of here, they just go, oh, they get all angry, but they're like, okay, I guess I'll go backstage now, back to catering. It's weird. What's the consequence if you don't? Has anyone ever tried to push the referee and look at the referee and go, nah, I think I'll stay here? You know what I mean? I don't know. That said, sorry, I keep interjecting in your email. So there were lots of people wearing Cody shirts, LA Knight shirts, and one last thing, I don't think I can ever sit upper deck again. The view was amazing, but the crowd in the upper deck was awful. Nobody was standing up, cheering, or etc., and it took kind of the mood out of it for me. My favorite part of the night was watching my girlfriend, who has only started watching wrestling 3 to 4 months ago and never attended an event before, go from quiet and reserved to really getting into it, and near the end, especially after getting to see her 2 favorite male wrestlers, R-Truth and unfortunately Cody Rhodes. Anybody who has never attended an event, definitely bring the energy to your section and get there as early as there is no order in those merch lines. Also, the crowd seemed in a good in person, but I'd like you to tell me how it seemed on TV, as it did seem off at times. Sorry for the long mailbag. I just want to give everybody an insight as to what attending a live event is. So, David, I haven't ever attended, or rather, I shouldn't say it, never. It's been a long time since I've attended a wrestling event sitting upper section. And it's because one of the things that you just experienced has happened to me, where it's the people sitting up there, it's almost like they might as well be at home, watching at home. That's the kind of energy they bring. Generally, not all the time. And I think a big part of it is they feel removed from the arena in a way, because you are further up and away. That's why the seats are cheaper. So, I mean, if you're bringing family or you have a number of people to bring with you, I understand why you do it. Or you're just like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money, and just pay whatever you need to just get in and you'll enjoy it. But you're right, the energy is not as intense because you're further away. Distance in a wrestling event matters. Now, it may not matter at a concert or other things, but for professional wrestling, for whatever reason, when you're further distance from the ring, energy levels decrease. It's an inverse relationship, right? As distance increases from the ring, you have energy decrease and vice versa. Generally, there are exceptions, but thank you for those in-person little notes. I love that stuff. So as far as the crowd goes, I mean, I remember just thinking about SmackDown generally, I didn't think it was the worst crowd in the world. I didn't think it was the hottest crowd either. It felt kind of, I don't mean this disrespectfully to Charlotte, but it felt average. And you know what? Here in Albany, we can sound average too. Some of the crowds that I've been in Albany here are just like womp womp. And it's just the way it is. But you guys didn't sound awesome, didn't sound terrible. Just kind of like there. And you guys came alive when you needed to, but there were times when it dragged. Excuse me, I told you guys there's a lot of times I've hit the pause button already and you don't even know it because of the magic of editing here and pre-recorded. But okay, anyway, thank you, David. And thank you for being a patron. I appreciate it. All right, let's get to one more. Let's see. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I told you guys. Crazy amount of emails. Let's get to Freeman. He says, I normally wait until after Raw to write in so I have the full information, but I think this week more pressing things have come up. So apologies if things have changed. But just as I say I'm getting bored with Cody, the Cody train, he brings his effing dog on board. F the dog. F everything this man stands for. Let Roman have the belt for the next 50 years. How did not people look at him walking his dog and just die of secondhand embarrassment? I honestly thought I could get behind him, but it's almost as if WWE are doing everything in their power to make me despise the guy. He's the definition of fake and manufactured. I don't even care to see Rock Roman at Mania that much. It will be fun, no doubt, but I'd rather be something that has a story impact. Cody could have done this, but he just had to show how down to earth and relatable this was with his designer suit and his pocket watch that he takes his dog for a walk. I'm not sure if they're using Mayor Quimby or Richard Nixon to base his character on, but they need to stop using Matt, Groening to write his character. I have no idea who that is, so I probably embarrassed myself. I have no idea who that is. So before I get to your next point, yeah, Cody is he's a tool. He's a tool. At least his honor character, his babyface character, comes off like a tool. It seems, though, that off camera he is a genuine guy. It seems off camera that he is. But he's trying too hard to be relatable. He's trying, I have a dog. How many other people have dogs? How many people love dogs? Isn't that cool? I have a dog. I bet you've never seen anybody with their dog before on WWE. Aren't I relatable? Huh? You know, what a tool. It is infuriating. And by the way, you think he's really bringing his dog around wearing that designer suit? No, of course not. You know, I don't know whose dog that was. Maybe it was actually his dog. Maybe it was. But it looked like just a D-bag. I mean, he looks so, I mean, he's trying too hard. You know, I don't want to go on it, but I mean, you know what I mean. It is just, yeah, all right. So, to add insult to injury, Rock and Roman is completely spoiled now. There is no way it will be enjoyable as it has Cody taint all over it. I mean, why is no one bringing up the only reason we have Rock Roman is because Cody allows it? His whole promo was how he was the one organizing the match and making it happen with his special connection. I mean, what's next? Are we going to get a return to Big Dog Roman? And then Cody can take him for a walk? Is Cody just angling for a GM job at this point? He's booking and organizing matches. He has enough power and influence to get The Rock to return to wrestling. He hasn't been pinned in ages and now dedicates when it's bring your dog to work day. And this point is basically just the second coming of JFK. We'll all just have to shut up and accept it. Sorry for the vent, but F that dog. I mean, the dog got more heat than Cody does at this point. I've said enough about the dog. It's such a trying too hard moment. Like, look how cool and relatable I am, right? But he does look much more like a politician or a GM or a manager than he does a wrestler. He just does. And when the time comes, I do believe he'll be a really good one if he wants to transition to that role. Honestly, Cody could even be an announcer if he wants to transition whenever he's done in the ring. He's good on the microphone. He's good backstage. He would be a good GM. He's already essentially a politician. He could slide right into any of those roles. If he wants to make a lifelong career out of wrestling, and I mean, obviously not in ring, but when the in-ring part goes away, he can transition to honestly anything. I know I hate his babyface character, but I understand the talent he has. And he could easily go into any one of those fields. But Freeman. Oh my goodness. So, okay. Let's I'll save. I've got, let's see here. I've got one more email. I'll do one more email, and then I've got a voicemail or two, and we're going to call it a night. So this is from John. John says, "Hi Matt, I feel like I speak for a lot of people, and that I just don't want to believe with this. I don't know what to believe with this whole saga. A part of me wants to believe the whole thing is staged, but when the crowd was chanting Rocky sucks on Monday, it seemed both Seth and Cody broke character, with Seth saying, 'Wow, I wasn't expecting that,' in a serious way, and Cody with a 'I can't believe it's gone this far' look. I don't think WWE had any idea the backlash would go that far, no matter how they spin it." Yes. Now, they will never publicly admit it. They may admit it years down the line in some kind of documentary about this whole thing. But right now, you think they're going to admit, "Oh, wow, yeah, we didn't see this coming. I guess we'll change our entire course of the main event because people are having hissy fits." Yeah. But they did. And that's exactly right. WWE, they can say they anticipated this and, "Oh, this is by design." Nonsense. But if I'm the company, I wouldn't admit it either, because everything they do, you could say, is a work. It's an unfalsifiable claim, meaning I could never prove, just like you can or any fan can't, that what's going on isn't what the original plan was, because we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes in the production meetings. No idea. So it's unfalsifiable. But when we use our minds and just use our eyeballs, you see things like that with Seth and Cody going, "Oh boy, wow." You can't ever count on the fans to do something for 100%. So they have to have plan B, and we're seeing plan B. We'll see what that ends up being. I do think some of this is staged, though, because of how bad the Rumble went in Philly in 2015. And WWE knows they must hit a home run out of the park this time in Philly this go around. The Royal Rumble also involved The Rock and Roman, and of course Daniel Bryan, who they're trying to turn Cody Rhodes into. But I know Philly, it could get ugly if they keep this story going down this path. This has to be a setup. They can't afford another Philly booing fest. So wait, are you proposing that they would actually boo Cody and cheer Roman? I'm curious as to, I mean, like, I don't see the fans actually booing Cody, even in Philly. I would say that's possible, except for the fact that there has been no crowd that has booed Cody. This isn't a John Cena part 2. This isn't a John Cena conundrum where half the fans are cheering and booing. No. The fans have so far unanimously been cheering Cody Rhodes, so I have no reason to believe when they get to WrestleMania in Philadelphia that the fans are going to suddenly switch. Very unlikely, in my mind. But I mean, anything's possible. I really do think the plan all along has been Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. Somehow Cody will finish the story there, while I believe it is only the start of the Rock and Roman story, which has, quote, a long game to it. After all, The Rock is now head of the table with his TKO title, and he can pull the strings however he wants them to tear Roman down. He may even force Roman to fight both nights at WrestleMania. If Macho Man could fight 3 matches at WrestleMania 4, Roman Reigns can handle 1 fight a night, plus he's had enough time to rest his body. But here's the thing, John. They're also risking injury. Injuries can happen at any time. Imagine if Roman Reigns gets hurt in night 1. Then what? You're really putting the risk out there. Where before, I mean, like back in those days, when you talk about WrestleMania 4, injuries, even you were expected to fight through injuries. The medical staff wasn't what it is today. The wrestler's health wasn't exactly prioritized. Different time. But, excuse me, I think the key phrase you put in here, though, is long game. That's a phrase I think we're going to come back to time and again over the next year, where we're going to go even look back in 6 months and go, wow, remember at WrestleMania when X and X and X happened? Remember that? Now we're all of a sudden here, and think about in 6 months when we get to WrestleMania, we could be here. And I think The Rock is literally looking out a year. For him, long game is a year. I don't think he's thinking long game through WrestleMania and that's it. And while I have said he's probably going to disappear after WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, and he probably will, that doesn't mean he's going to be gone for, till the next WrestleMania. He'll pop in and out to keep the storyline going and eventually lead to a possible Roman turn on him, which will lead to a true Roman Rock match at WrestleMania 41. I mean, that's what I think is going to happen now. I think they have literally kicked out Rock Roman a year. Because when they do this, they want to do it right with no title on the line, no Cody Rhodes to interject themselves, get the title out of the damn out of the whole picture, which is the big problem. That's the whole thing too. If the title wasn't in the picture, this wouldn't have been a problem, and the fans unanimously would have embraced The Rock. But that's not the case. So, thank you, John. All right, that's it for the emails. I think we have a couple voicemails, so let's get to them. We'll get to the voicemails right now and see who's on the line.
Liam Ward is my name, and I'm just been thinking that everyone's freaking out if it should be Roman versus Cody or Roman versus The Rock. Why don't we save Roman versus The Rock for next year, and then we have Seth versus The Rock. Set up a little nice storyline there for WrestleMania, so then Cody can finish his story with Roman, and everybody's happy.
Hey, Liam, I don't think I've heard you before, so welcome. Glad you called in. I will say that's exactly what I've been thinking now, too, they've probably kicked Roman and Rock one-on-one, no title, let's hope, down the line to WrestleMania 41. It seems like that's the path they're going. And I don't hate it. Again, if you're going to do that mega match, you want to do it right with the support from the crowd that you want. You don't want heel Rock and heel Roman. And you still don't want heel Rock and babyface Roman. That's even weirder. You want the match that we just simply wanted from the beginning of time when this was a possibility being discussed. Babyface Rock, heel Roman, no title. That's it. End of subject. And with everything getting effed up because the title's involved and everyone wanted Cody and all the rest of it, you're now forced to kick it out a year, but it just begs the question, what the hell's The Rock doing at WrestleMania 40 now? What do we do? I don't know. No, we'll find out a little bit more next week on SmackDown. All right, let's get to our next voicemail.
Hey, so I was just thinking, my name is Liam Ward. I was just thinking that, so Cody brought out The Rock, and then all of a sudden The Rock is just now on Roman's side, which is all right, yeah, it's their family and everything, I get it. But what if at WrestleMania, The Rock turns full babyface and actually turns on Roman and helps Cody win the title, and then you can have that just lead up to The Rock and Roman at either WrestleMania next year or whenever you want to do it, and then Cody beats Roman, finishes his story. They could have their rematch at SummerSlam, and while also keeping Hulk Hogan's record, if that's what they want to do. But just a thought that I had, because everyone's so focused on The Rock, teaming with Roman and helping him beat Cody, but Cody literally brought Roman back. Brought The Rock back. He brought him out. That can't just be an accident. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Thank you. My name's Liam.
All right, Liam, I didn't know you had back-to-back. I would have combined them. But, okay. You could do that. When it comes to The Rock, there could be a time where you have The Rock, help Cody beat the bloodline. But right now, I don't know if it's that time, because two things. Number one, if Rock is playing the long game with Roman, you don't want The Rock yet turning on Roman, because you got a long way to build WrestleMania 41 if that's what they're going to do. Also, a heel Rock is fun. We want to see how long that can play out. And I don't want just a 1 month, 2 month run with heel Rock. Heel Rock is a fun one. I think we've all forgotten how good heel Rock is. Number three, when it comes to Cody's victory, I said this earlier in the show, I don't think fans are going to want The Rock involved, as if they could say, and the Rock fans being able to say, see, your little Cody needed daddy's help. That Cody needed daddy's help to win the belt. That'll piss off a lot of Cody fans. And it'll give the Rock fans something to hang their hat on, and there goes the Civil War. Not to this level, but it would still give ammunition to a side of the crowd that I don't know if it's worth giving it to them. So, and honestly, I don't think I'd do it that way either. I'm still in the Rock's camp. I would take Rock Roman over Cody Roman. Me. That's me. I know I'm in the minority. That's fine. But I still understand the story of Cody and why this was a bad year to do Rock Roman, even though I said it's the only year you can do it before things get mucked up and you may not be able to do it again. But I understand, and I am, I've got enough brain cells in my mind, I think, to realize that Rock does not need to or shouldn't mess with the story of Cody and Roman. Cody and Roman needs to be in its bubble and shielded from all outside interference. It just does. No more wonkiness, no more Solo, no more Jimmy. Rock stays out of it. No Paul Heyman sliding anything to Roman. No foreign objects. One-on-one. This is a big moment for Cody. You can't have it tainted by any wonkiness. You just can't, even with The Rock. So, thanks, Liam. Let's get to our next one.
Alex, the French guy here, your current European champion. This week is absolutely insane for wrestling fan. Cody's decision to resign from WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. And the return, finally, of the People's Champion, The Rock. Guys, people, I do understand, because there's so many we want Cody chants, but I do understand why you want Cody in the main event, and I do understand why the situation is kind of tricky for Cody, but I want Roman versus The Rock for so long. So many people wanted this match for so long, and now you are taking this away from the community. So don't, please, I understand that this is not the perfect time to do so, but if it's the time, let's do this. Cody Rhodes didn't deserve the world champion, the WWE championship. Last year, he won every single match except 5. He didn't go through struggles. That's not the accolade of a babyface, but that's not the subject. I want The Rock so bad versus Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes will win the championship at one point. I don't know when, but he has time. The Rock hasn't. I don't know what the age of the guy is. That's the better match on the paper. For the storyline, that's better. For money-wise, that's better. For no one outside of the wrestling community knows who Cody Rhodes is. But the other argument for you Cody Rhodes fans is that never before Cody received such a support for the fans. So what does that tell you? Is that right now Cody Rhodes is stepping up as a face because he's struggling against a real threat, which is The Rock, a bigger main eventer, taking his spot, making him a true face, which is not at the moment. But yeah, I want The Rock versus Roman Reigns so bad. Please, WWE, don't take this away. This is the bigger match. Bye, guys.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, there is a significant part of the audience that aren't chanting we want Cody, that are disappointed at The Rock versus Roman not happening this year, apparently. I mean, it's not confirmed. Again, we've only got half the story. We want to know what The Rock is doing. We've got nothing. We want to know what The Rock is doing, and then we can comment on it and get disappointed or angry. But if The Rock isn't facing Roman, I don't know what happens or how it happens. Roman could still do double duty. Could. But if The Rock's turned heel, then there's less interest in it from just a general perspective because, it's the heel Rock. Well, why am I going to cheer for him again? It gets weird. You got to do traditional badass Rock versus Roman. You just do. The heel Roman. The current heel Roman. So it just seems like it's trending that it's not going to happen. The Rock will be involved in some way, in some kind of weird match or in physicality inside of the ring at WrestleMania 40, but that's the other part of it is, what about the fans that are just like, are you kidding me? How are you taking this mega match away? That is the other side of it. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a money perspective, but I put this out on X earlier today that, by the way, go follow me at wrestling_audio, that sometimes what's going to make the most money and what the fans say you should do are not going to be the same thing. Now, often they're not. Take exhibit A, right? Most people by a poll seemingly wanted Cody versus Roman. What's going to make the company more money? Without a doubt, Rock versus Roman. Without a doubt. But WWE went with the long-term strategy and said, hey, let's go with what we think is the best long-term solution here. We may not get another shot with Cody being this hot. Fans clearly want Cody, and it doesn't seem to be fading. And the crowd was chanting Rocky sucks, and this is a real thing. And so I understand it. But my point is, it's not always going to be the same thing. What's going to make the most money and what the fans want are not always going to be aligned. But yeah, Rock Roman has to happen. But now the question is, when? No idea is the answer. No idea. So we'll see. All right, let's keep going. A couple more.
Hey, Matt, Anthony from California. Just wanted to say that press conference was absolutely insane. Totally heard your intro to the second part of the mailbag for this week, and I just have to say that you and Anthony go off on these rants, and sometimes it's like, okay, this is the same rant we've heard week after week. But your first 5 minutes of you just being like heated, fired up, Matt, about people saying that the Rock Roman thing is dead, that was solid money. That was fire. I will take fired up Matt over the basic rants or whatever you do every week. I will take that all day long. That was seriously the best solid 5 minutes of your show that I've ever heard. And I love your show, but that was solid money. Great job. That was fantastic. I just want to say, as far as the WrestleMania card goes, I know we all want to know who's going to fight, who's going to be, making it happen. But let's not forget, we still got a PLE coming up. We've still got, that's going to get sorted. So, before we can get a full card, I think that PLE still has to happen. There's still some more storylines to be told before we get that full card. So I think we just need to pump the brakes, be a little bit more patient. But man, what a time for wrestling right now. This is insane. This is nearing that fever pitch of Attitude Era. This is insane. And heel Rock, ultimate Rock. Anyway, have a great week, and let's just keep it going.
All right, Anthony from California. I actually have no clue what I said in the first 5 minutes. I don't remember. I have to go back and listen to my own show. I have no idea. I don't have a clue. I'll go back and use it as like okay, and maybe this is what some people find more interesting than my default rants. Right? We'll just call it that, like the default things I say about Cody every single week. But he continues to do those things that annoy me every week, so I have my own platform, and I know. Here's the thing. Maybe not you, Anthony, although maybe you've said it. Other people said, "Oh, your negativity is just so overwhelming." Blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen. I acknowledge that sometimes I do focus on the negative too much, and that sometimes I only tweet out the stuff that pisses me off. But and I do try to focus. I do make a conscious effort every single show, whether people believe me or don't, to try to focus on some of the good stuff and really fun stuff that could be coming down the line. I really do, whether you believe me or not. But I do know I need to probably incorporate a little more of the things I think that are good that's going on. But I will say this, and I will back up and double, triple down on everything I've said. I take nothing back from anything I've ever said. And this isn't really directed at you, Anthony. It's more directed just generally, because I've gotten a lot of stuff lately with people saying, "Oh, you're too negative." And again, I've acknowledged it. But also, I don't take a single word back from it. So if people think I'm going to walk back on it or apologize, that's not happening. This is a product that everyone's got their own opinions on. And to think I'm going to back down or whatever, it's not happening, right? Like, good luck. Not happening. But we're all passionate about a product that we want to see improve. There's always a way to improve it. You're never going to get to a point in pro wrestling where you're just looking at it going, man, everything about that was just perfect. Everything about everything is just exactly the way I would have done it. No, it's a product that is heavily critiqued by millions of people every week. And it's just the way it is, but I really don't know, Anthony. I am curious. I have no clue what I said. So I've talked about this so much over the last week and a half. I have forgotten about half of what I've said about it. So I'll go back and listen because I'm interested in what the hell I said. But continue to make sure or at least pretend that you're interested in my default rants every week about Cody or whatever. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate your passion. Here's what's the great thing too. Here's something positive. I know a lot of you don't agree with everything I say. You're annoyed by how often I complain about the same things, or I just have a take that you're just like, that is so dumb. But here's the thing. Here's what's great. I appreciate the people that call in respectfully, and we can have a kind of delayed debate about it because it's pro wrestling, right? It's not life or death. It's pro wrestling. It's a form of entertainment like any other TV show or movie you watch. And we don't need to take it so damn seriously, but our passion comes through as if it's life or death sometimes. And the death threats, let me be clear about this. As much as I say I won't back down, everything I say, I agree. I'm not backing down for anything I say, but I also do not support at all people making death threats and just acting like complete fools. I mean, saying stuff that is just gross, right? Those people don't deserve a place on social media. In fact, you know where they deserve a place? Inside of a jail cell. That's where. We don't need that. That stuff is garbage. So I as much as, you could claim, oh, that's passionate too. Those people would probably claim, oh, it's my passion. Okay, well, let me express my passion by tossing your ass in the back of a police car, right? That's not how you act. And anyway, but it's just that part of it has gotten out of hand, and it seems like that part's quieted down. But so I just wanted to point that out that no, I may be passionate, but I also have perspective. And I also appreciate those that call in every week or write me and disagree or say, things that we could do to improve the show. I do appreciate that. I do. I really do. All right. Let's see how many more we have. My voice is starting to go, so hopefully only one more.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about the women's chamber match so far. I'm going to focus on the women right now. The men is all over. It's so convoluted right now. I feel like the women are on track. I feel like heading to WrestleMania, the roles for that WrestleMania with Bayley facing Io officially for WrestleMania, so that should be fun. The chamber qualifying match last week with Becky winning and Becky Liv to win her match next week against Zoe Stark as well. And just an early prediction already. I'm predicting that Becky and Liv will be the final two women at the Elimination Chamber match. But I'll just put that out there just to be out there already without even knowing if Liv's going to qualify next week, which I think she will. Anyway, so yeah, I just thought overall so far I enjoyed the qualifying stuff. I enjoyed definitely the Rhea Nia interaction. Rhea's going to be super over in Australia anyway because it's our home country, but the match will make sense. And so whatever, that's fine. For the match to happen there, it kind of makes sense. So overall, I enjoyed the women's stuff on Raw, and then enjoyed the fact that Bayley will face Io as well for WrestleMania. So I enjoyed pretty much the women's segments on Raw and SmackDown both compared to the men, because the men are kind of all convoluted. At least the women, there's a sense of stuff is coming into place with the women that it's nicely formed. Bayley will face Io, expecting Becky to face Rhea for WrestleMania, so we're all set with the women's side of things of WrestleMania, headed into WrestleMania with the women so far. So I want to give my 2 cents of the chamber qualifying matches from last night and next week's for Raw as well, between Becky's match and Liv and Zoe's match next week as well. So that's it. Thanks for the call. Bye.
Yeah, it's a good point, Kyle. I mean, first of all, it's nice to talk about something other than Cody Rock Roman, so that's a good thing. Thank you. It is a good thing that the women are they do feel very structured right now. And there's something to be said for that. With all the confusion and chaos and fog and anger and all that's going on with the men, you have the women who are just kind of like moving along at a nice pace. You see the rivalries setting up. No one's complaining. Bayley's having a nice babyface turn. It's an easy to understand storyline there with Io. You do wonder what the true motivations of Dakota Kai are. Is she eventually going to turn on Bayley? Is she really with her? That kind of thing. And Bayley is a already insanely heavy favorite to beat Io Sky. If Io Sky wins at WrestleMania, I would just ask, like, why? Who's winning? Who's winning from this creative decision? But with the Raw side of things, with the women's world title with Rhea, it does seem that Becky Lynch is on her way to face Rhea Ripley. They had the press conference face-off, which is a heavy tip-off that it's going to be Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. But also, yeah, there's Liv Morgan, who's on her revenge tour. And what is she on revenge for, exactly? Who is she after revenge against? Rhea Ripley for breaking her arm or whatever, right? But then why is it the revenge tour against the world? I don't understand. I mean, she's trying to... Like, I tweeted at her and I said, like, can you explain what or who are you trying to exact revenge from? I didn't get an answer, but I don't understand. Like, what is she so angry about, and for who and why? But we're all just accepting, yeah, she's on this revenge tour. Okay, sounds cool. Can you tell me why? No, I don't know why, but it sounds cool. It's just like we got no substance other than, I understand, Rhea Ripley. But after that, who do you have? Right? Maybe revenge really against the fans who reacted very mildly to her number 30 re-debut or return at the Rumble, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's a tough spot to fill because everyone expects a massive return. It's been a spot that has had almost too high of expectations over the years. I mean, Rey Mysterio got booed in the number 30 spot. Liv Morgan didn't get booed, but she got like, meh. Hey, Liv, how you doing? It's one of those. If I could collectively put it in the phrase, it would be that from the fans, where they expected Sasha Banks or they expected AJ Lee. They got Liv Morgan. Okay, right? Sorry, Liv. It's just a fact. So, anyway. That'll do it for me, guys. I'm going on nearly an hour and a half, but I wanted to get everybody in and everybody get a chance to talk. And if there's anybody I missed, I'm sure there is. I'm sure I missed someone because of all the volume of things I got this past week. Then send it to me again, okay? Or send me your voicemail, your updated voicemail again. I saw a couple voicemails in there that I couldn't read, or rather I couldn't download. So if you sent me a voicemail and I didn't put it on the show, resend me your updated voicemail. That way, I mean, you can update, obviously. Things have happened since you've sent me the original one, and you can add your comments there. So email me at mailbag@wwepodcast.com. That is a place to go. You can also call us. I'll give you the number, 518-952-0247. All right. If you guys want everything ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast is the way to go. Apple Podcasts also offers an ad-free experience. Both of them. You can do a 7-day free trial, totally free. You can join us for a week, and if you don't like it, cool, cancel. If you do like it, great, you can stick around because we also have a Discord server that's exclusive for those patrons, and we also have WWEpodcast.com if you still use websites. Some people still do, and we also can you can support us on Spreaker. So Spreaker is a great place to become a supporter, and you get that extra show, the After Dark show. That's an adult version of the show. Not PG, but if you're interested in such things, you can get on Patreon and get that, or on Apple or on Spreaker. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back. Oh, heck. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll be back with Anthony DeBarco doing the current state of WWE. Until then, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.